Hello and welcome to Pardon the Interception with your hosts Lee Wood,
Nick Taylor,
and Fleming Wood.
And this week we've been joined by a special guest.
Simon's assistant manager at the Avalanche.
No, Simon is the assistant manager.
Ah, yes, sorry, I've got him mixed up.
Oh, right. So let's see what's been going on in Gridiron this week. So we'll start off with looking at the GFL. So first game we're going to look at is the Fair Isle Dodgers at the Virginia Beach Breakers, talking about Aaron Sanford. And here we can see that Aaron actually managed to put some points up on the board and keep the score down a little bit, but Fair Isle managing to win despite putting up less yardage and less time of possession here. Likely going to be down to a special teams and defensive performance, I would have thought here. Simon, is there anything that jumps out at you here?
No, just Aaron being crap again, as always. Terrible coach, doesn't know what he's doing.
Nick, anything you want to add?
Big fan then, Simon. I mean, the Breakers have done. Are they the Breakers? Are we agreeing with that? Okay,
yeah,
excellent. They are. I think they've done pretty well here, actually. I mean, they've obviously lost the game due to some turnovers and what have you, but they've got some game going, which might give Aaron some confidence going on through the season. And you don't really want to give Aaron confidence from past experiences.
Okay, and the second game we've got to look at is the Bulls at the Emperors. I remember why I chose the game. Yes, this was a close game, narrowly won by Chris Rice, formerly of the Atlantic. Just a good grind out game. One on the possession battle, one on the yardage battle, but only just managing to scrape a win with a field goal in the final quarter, in the final 2 minutes of the game as well. Simon, does anything jump out at you here?
The number of turnovers is quite impressive. Nobody could actually keep the ball, which has made it quite a topsy-turvy, fun to watch game. Everyone loves a turnover.
Turnover central.
Look at the quarterback ratings. It was not one for the offense.
No, they've thrown a few interceptions there. 6 interceptions in the game is a lot.
Intercepciano.
What's that? Is that five fumbles from running backs as well? So, I mean, it leads to exciting games and close games as well. So, usually, I kind of like these games because it shows that actually the defense has kind of got aggressive and you're willing to maybe give up some yards, but actually, if you can turn the ball over and get points from it or good field position, it can make all the difference.
Okay. And then around the rest of the GFL, we can see that we've dubbed it Week of the Running Back here. As I'm going to go on the assumption that these are all running backs here, as they have a number of carries between them. But some very strong yardage and quite a lot of yards and touchdowns here. And then 6 undefeated teams left at this early point in the season. It'll be interesting to see how many we have in the coming weeks. Nick, anything more to add around the rest of the league?
No, just as you said, it's running back week, and these 3 alone have 24 touchdowns between them and a lot of yards. So yeah, no, interesting stuff, and we're going to start looking at other players around the league.
So. Simon, anything here?
Everyone's waiting for the Wraiths to lose a game so we can all celebrate.
I mean, that's every season.
The one big thing is Kinnard with 147 yards, but 10 touchdowns.
He just walks it in.
10 touchdowns from 26 carries.
26 carries, yes. What, 45% of his carries went for touchdowns?
As I said, he's a specialist that can jump over the line.
Yeah, it's what Kuhn used to do for the Green Bay Packers a few years ago. You bring him in your 3rd and 2, and he got you those 2 yards every single. every single time. Didn't get a hell of a lot more, but
Yep.
right.
Goal line offense.
Yeah.
Bang
On to the Atlantic. So we've got the, I'm not even going to pronounce it, Swamp Stallions versus the Tayside Tigers.
Give it a go, Lee. Give it a go.
Atchafalala.
I like it. That'll do.
Yeah.
It's a good attempt.
Is it actually for Lawala Swamp or is it actual for Swamp?
I believe they're the Stallions, and they got named the Atchafalaya Swamp.
I think that's Swamp Stallions. They're like
There was a discussion on this at one point.
wet mossy horses.
The original coach was the Stallions.
Yeah, the Sheffield Stallions. Wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
All these free name teams are obviously like that, aren't they?
No.
Callie does not like that naming.
Callie does not agree. Martin, unfortunately, you're going to have to change the name of the team. Simon, what jumped out at you here?
Oh, wait for me to stop getting assaulted.
Okay.
Just the pass off. It's an utter pass off, and Martin was probably feeling quite happy with the first half, and then suddenly Mark came back with a rather aggressive third quarter, which actually made the kind of play-by-play really interesting at the end.
Nick, what did you make of this, being someone that I think's played against the Tigers more than anyone else here?
Yeah, well, it's the Tigers doing what the Tigers do best. The old short passing unit, quarterback rating of 143. Just good yardage all the time. Was it nearly 88% completion rate, which is pretty huge. And I think it might be the start of Martin trying to put his own spin on the Stallions and trying to work out what he wants to do with them. I think is it 2 losses in a row, or is it potentially? So yeah, I think maybe it's time to start seeing what Martin wants to do with the Stallions and see how that turns around, which will be an interesting watch as well.
Okay.
He did pick up the team from a terrible coach.
Yeah, he did.
It's a bit of a handicap for Martin.
And we've got the Triumph Spitfires at the Royal Berkshire Spartans. So, Simon, what jumps out at you about this game, apart from it being an incredibly close battle?
It's one of those ones where the quarterbacks couldn't really get going. They won't,
It's not got the same quarterbacks as the last game.
No. The running backs, made the difference in this game, definitely. Actually getting those first downs and keeping the ball going.
That being said, the Spitfires got 13 of the first downs via the pass.
Oh yeah, you are going to get some, right? You throw enough crap at a fan, some of it sticks.
But I think the Spitfires quarterback did better than the stats make him look in this.
Yeah, he got a good completion percentage, but then he's throwing short pass, so you'd expect him to be getting
65% with just under a 10-yard average. It's not a terrible day out and 219 yards, but the quarterback rating is not good.
Yeah, I think you must take that all day long with like your running back getting 5 yards per carry. I mean, it's going to get you down the field, which is what it did. And then disappointed the Spartans don't have a 3 in the quarter 1 column for the nice bit of symmetry there. But
yeah, the only thing I'd say is Boland's 5.3 carries is heavily skewed by that 76-yard run.
Yeah, but he still made a 76-yard run. So.
Yeah, true.
And even if you took that away, that one run per 3 plays with a quarterback pass, that's 10 yards each time. So
this is one of those games where if it was run another couple of times, the Spartans would have won.
Yeah, although I think
Spitfires got a bit lucky.
Yeah, it starts to show you where the Spartans are this season after heavy rebuild over the last 2 years, 2 seasons, is it?
And also, given how many quarterbacks they've had on their roster the past few seasons, I'm disappointed that 1, their quarterback didn't do as well, and 2, that they only played 1.
There'll be a new one next week.
True.
Wait. And isn't that, was it, 3rd win for Greg and the Spitfires as well? So, and it's a away win against a team that we sort of expect to make the playoffs based on their rebuild. So, big win for Greg there as well.
Looking around the rest of the league, so the top performers here we've got the wide receivers and cornerbacks. So week of the pass in the Atlantic, with a rookie coming in as well with 280 yards for the Snow Bears, which is scary.
Yeah.
Great name as well. I have to give that.
Burton Slim. And then 6 undefeated teams here, of which for some reason 2 of the coaches of PTI are in this. I'm not quite sure how.
The smash Nick round the face.
It's true. No denying that.
So we're playing in the Delta this week, aren't we? Not
Yes,
the
Delta.
Atlantic. Okay, so we both still could go undefeated this into week 4.
I do want to say Ross there has got 8 receptions and 4 touchdowns from him, which I'm going to just bring up every time the stats come up. It's like
50%. Oh, I'm going to throw him the ball, and half the time he's going to the house.
yeah.
I mean, why aren't I throwing it to him every single down? I'd like to know how many targets he had.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That would be interesting.
All right, on to the biggest Skyus. So we're going to start off with the rivets at the Bulldogs.
I mean, the riveting rivets.
The riveting rivets. Mon Dieu.
And we were talking about 70 points a game. Jeez.
Look at this beauty.
Wow.
I think that's the highest single team score I've ever seen in a gridiron game.
Yeah. What's that?
Yeah.
Is that 70-0 at half time?
Yes, that is 70-0 at the half. So why did he take his foot off the gas
Exactly.
as much as he did?
Could have had 100.
I thought this was a cricket match.
94 for 7. What is it?
Yeah.
An England score?
Yeah.
After day 1 in the test, England are 94 for 7.
Sounds about right, to be fair.
Yeah. Or unless Clay is watching, in which case Australia 94 for 7.
The thing with this game is quite basically the Bulldogs had no offense and no special teams, so the rivets would constantly get the ball on their opponent's 30 or the 20, so they'd be basically in the red zone for every drive. So every drive was going to the house.
Okay.
It was far too easy for their offense. So if you look, it's only 400 yards.
Yeah.
And you'd expect. You've seen games with 400 yards, but because the ball wasn't getting moved the other way. 1,000 yards in kickoffs is one of the beauties of this.
Oof. That's a lot of yards.
He's got a sore leg.
I mean, the net's nearly 1,000 as well.
Because they won't be in return particularly as well.
Punt average of 18 yards is not.
And the punts weren't going very far. Like you add that all together, and it was just too easy for the riveting rivets of original Conrad.
Yeah.
More successful Conrad. Original Conrad is Williams. Whittingham is the more successful Conrad. Please get your Conrad nomenclature correct. Nick, anything else to add?
Did I see a cool record there of 10 touchdowns? Was that
9 rushing touchdowns as a record? Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice record.
That is indeed a nice one, and nicely split out as well.
Yeah, nothing too long as well. But quarterback rating of 152. Whoa.
Yeah.
I think it's just the all-round perfect, almost perfect game from the rivets there.
Good old public school thrashing.
It comes down to points difference. Whoa, they put some points on the board in this game.
Yeah. Then we've got the Webster Super Weasels versus the Glasgow Rushmores. So, Simon, what brought your eye to this except for the awesome pink and green in the team yardage bars?
Oh, those team yardage bars are beautiful. It's one of those games that was just a joy to actually go through the play-by-play, because you had it was just topsy-turvy going both ways, and then it goes into overtime, and the Super Weasels had a chance to take it to the house and fail. I think I might be confused. No, they did. So the Super Weasels got the ball, but failed to take it, and then gave it to the opponents. Although they were getting pretty close to being in field goal range, and then had a fumble. So it was quite exciting. They got to the 33, fumbled it, and then the other team ran it up the pitch with 4 plays, just going 15-20, 15-20, field goal. See you later.
Rough beats.
They gave him the Glasgow kiss.
Yeah.
Nick, anything to add?
No, just a great game. Great performance. Very up and down, as Simon said. 7-0, 14-7, through to the end of the third quarter, and then another 14-7 in the fourth quarter in overtime. Good game from 2 decent teams.
Right, and then looking around the rest of the league, 2 running backs and a DE making it to the board of honours. 41 carries, 8 touchdowns. Gallagher having a career-defining day. I can see. I think we can all agree there. And not to be outdone, Creef 8 sacks for for negative 53 yards. That's a beat in there. And also 6 undefeated teams. Something tells me that the maths might be 6 in all leagues, unless there was draws.
You might be surprised by that.
I could be, yeah.
Creef is giving some people some grief.
Yeah, I thought it was nice to put Davies back on there, as he had a good week this week as well after last season. So.
Yeah. He'd gone missing, and suddenly he's back.
Yeah,
getting some yards.
Nearly 10 yards per carry.
Okay, moving on to the Continental, we've got the perennial Arctic Badgers at the Chicago Machine. Nick, how did the Badgers do this week?
Well, this week it'd be rude not to return to Strom watch, at least for 1 week, because Strom has run for 211 yards, nearly 6 yards per carry, and he's outdone Anguta. What are the chances of that happening? No, it was a solid performance from those guys, but actually, unfortunately, the Machine couldn't get much going on offense, because they actually did quite well to keep them out of the end zone in this game. It's just 5 field goals, and if the Machine could have just got a little bit going to get a couple of touchdowns on the board, they could well have been in this game, because their sort of red zone defense has done very well.
That's my big takeaway. It's not often you see 407 rushing yards and not a single rushing touchdown given up. That, to me, is actually a positive sign.
Yeah.
Because all they needed was a couple of cheeky breakaway touchdowns, and suddenly this game is completely flipped.
Yeah. The turnovers didn't necessarily help them as well, with 3 turnovers to 0. But yeah, I mean, if the Machine can just find a way to get that offense ticking a little bit better, they could be well up there, because as we all know, the Badgers have been well up there for a while.
Callie, what do you think of Strom's return to form?
Strom sent her to sleep. And it's boring, just ramming the ball up the middle. Nobody likes that. No, I see the ball fly through the air. Screw Strom watch. On a more serious note, the Machine were dominated in special teams, which didn't help. They were losing about 10 to 15 yards a punt. With the amount of punts in the game, it did start to hurt them a bit.
Okay. Anything else to add, Simon?
Nope.
Then the other game we've got here is the Zulus at the Marauders. So, Nick, what jumps out here?
This was just another classic close game from two teams that are performing well in the sea. Interestingly, both teams have put 2 quarterbacks on the field at various points, and the lesser quarterback for Virginia has a quarterback rating of 155. So good on him. It's a great win for the Zulus as well, because it's an away win, which aren't that easy to come by these days, and that will really help them going forward throughout the season. So yeah, good win for the Zulus, good game to watch, and they sort of did it in the last dying minutes of the game, quarter 4.
Simon, anything to add?
No, this game's Nick's covered it pretty nicely.
Okay. Looking around the rest of the league, we've got 2 QBs and a running back. Nick, do you want to talk us through the stats here?
Yeah, a bit more of a quarterback watch in this one, with Benedict 477 yards, quarterback rating of 146 and 4 touchdowns. And Ziegler, sort of similar stats, quarterback rating 154. So some huge quarterback ratings this week. And then Kilgore's running for 3 touchdowns and a lot of yards there for. But I think that's supposed to say Houston, but it says Houghton. So.
And then only 5 undefeated teams.
I did warn you.
Yeah.
I might have put the stats together and known that, but you know.
Okay, moving on to the Delta. We've got the Copperheads at the Mariners.
Self-indulgent.
Self-indulgent. Okay.
Wrong
I'm
Mariners.
not quite sure how this is self-indulgent, Simon, because it's the different league. But I thought I'd put this in here because everyone's favourite flopperheads gave up 650 passing yards against the Mariners, who I quite like this season. I think they're going to be there or thereabouts, and putting performances like this up is only going to help. Simon, what do you make of this?
Well, they can only play the team that's put in front of them. And, you know, most teams can beat the flopperheads. So it's quite hard to judge, you know, how well the Mariners are sailing. But this, you know, you can only beat who's put in front of you, and they gave up no yards, gave up no point. Oh, not no yards, because quite a lot, but they did put 700 yards on the board.
The fact you can only beat the team you put in front of you, how do you think I made it to the bowl in the Atlantic last season?
It's a good point.
Nick, what did you make of this?
I mean, we do have Kendall against the Mariners, which happens quite often, it seems. Not necessarily just in this league.
Yeah, true. I do have to play Kendall in the Atlantic once or twice this season. So,
yeah, I think you've covered most of it. As you can see, Tortuga have 2 new records: 650 passing yards and 7 passing touchdowns. So, big game for Benjamin there.
Yeah, and then the other game we've got to look at is the Jets at the Silverbacks. So, brought this here as, to many, they see this as an upset win. Personally, being one of the coaches involved, the game was close. It was a single score game, but trying to downtown Dave Brown just goes all out on the pass, and honestly, I couldn't do anything about it. I mean, I've got a running back with 5.4 yards a carry. My secondary running back having a cameo role, but just couldn't score in the second half, it seems. Frustrating loss, but not one that not totally unexpected. Simon, how do you want to rip into me about this? Simon is frozen, so we will go over to Nick.
And you flop.
Yeah, so, well, I think you said it all. Your team just went home at half time. That's what it looks like. I mean, your running backs performed reasonably well. Your quarterbacks performed reasonably well, and it's, as you say, kind of like one of those unfortunate losses where you can't be too unhappy. It's a close game.
It's against a deep passing team. It's a single score. I'll take it. Simon, you seem to be back now. What particular insult would you like to use today?
There's a new flopperheads in town.
Oh dear.
It's the Jets. To be fair, Dave did have a spy on the pitch, which does tend to help.
Who was the spy?
His middle linebacker was in spy.
Okay.
One of those lesser used stances.
Isn't that the new stance this year?
I believe it might be.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what it does.
No, I don't. I don't either. I believe it's against the short part. It's meant to be against the pass spy.
Anyway, well, he got you with it.
Yeah. Looking around the rest of the league, Benjamin, we spoke about a ridiculous career day. Eisenhart from Frome proving that the Zimmer frame isn't going to slow him down too much, and Biloxi coming out with Powell, giving them a pretty good run, and giving us 6 undefeated teams, of which 2 of them are a northwest of La Jolla and Frome. Simon, anything else you want to add around the stats?
Nope.
Okay. Moving on to the Empire, I've got the Kings at the Monarchs. Nick, what brought your attention here?
Yeah, so after the Kings lost last week, I thought we'd visit the Kings, and they've had a nice close game with the Monarchs here. The Monarchs are a pretty good team as well, so it was interesting to see how the Kings were doing. And actually, they don't look quite as dominating as they were last season. Whether that's a schedule thing or the team's aging a little bit, might be one to look at throughout the season. Nice to see a defensive end getting the MVP award. Quite a few sacks in this game, but it's a good win for the Kings. It's a win they probably wanted and needed to make sure they're well in there for the playoffs and maybe regain some dominance in the league.
Simon, anything to add?
No, Nick's got it quite well.
Okay. Second game we've got to look at is the Amethyst Russians versus the Galloway Blue Moon. I believe the first time the Blue Moon have been mentioned on Pardon the Inception, and no blue in their helmet colour or their bar colour at all. Unless you add blue to their bar colour, then you get the helmet colour. Nick, what brought your attention here?
Last season, the Russians were fairly good. They're in thereabouts with the playoffs. Started off this season fairly well, and then they've actually had a pretty decent game in general. Like, you know, if you just look at the passing stats, 500 passing yards is quite big. However, turnovers are huge, and they've lost the turnover war 6-1, and their quarterback's got sacked 12 times, which is got to hurt, and it has hurt. I think. You know, maybe it shows that the Blue Moon are there to. They've got some big players on defense, and you know they'll be pretty pleased to have won this game, because you probably expect them to be underdogs, certainly based on the way the game's gone. So big win for them, big loss for the Russians, and we'll have to see how both teams go going forward.
Simon, anything to add?
Got to show some love for the Amethyst Russians having an amethyst coloured bar and an amethyst coloured helmet. You know, going on better than the Blue Moon there, but those pesky little Russians just can't stop a sack.
2 sack records in that game. Ooh.
Yep, amount of sacks achieved and amount of sacks allowed. Unsurprising when the number's 12. Nick, do you want to talk us through the stats through the rest of the league?
Yeah, we've seen a few of these last season. Kimball, I remember he got mentioned a few times. 377 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns. It's pretty big. Legend, as we know, from Jacksonville High, 198 yards and 5 touchdowns. Pretty much won them that game. And a name we might well remember from the A from years ago in Doofenshmirtz.
Doofenshmirtz.
Yeah. And there's a quarterback. I don't know what's going on there. I think he was a running back before, wasn't
he? Yeah, Doofenshmirtz was a running back.
Yeah, so
Aid Hill's team by any chance?
I think this is try and make my brain. Ken Dean's team.
Okay.
But yeah, he's had a good outing, 343 yards and 4 touchdowns, and just thought we'd bring that up as a name we sort of recognise from the past. So it's kind of cool having those sort of junior sort of things going on in other leagues as well.
I will remind anybody that wants to use the name Barros that I do actually have a trademark. And then 5 undefeated teams in the Empire as well: Jacksonville High, the Hunters, North Wales, Birmingham, Romford, and District 12. Simon, anything about the E before we go for a wrap up?
Where's Postman Pat?
He did not have a good week.
Pat watch.
Legend did all the work, and
Okay.
Pat sat back for this week, I think.
Fair enough. Okay, brings us to a close. Nick, any passing words from you?
Not too much this week. Just good luck, have fun, and I hope your games go well.
Simon, any parting words from you?
May your hunters be high and your herd be thundering.
Okay, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.